Hello there. Today we're talking about how to microneedle safely at home. Very controversial topic because dermatologists, actually I've just seen one, and YouTubers basically recommend not to do it at home at all. Like there's no technique for them to do it properly. And I think it's pretty justified, you know, and they have a point because they're just scared that majority of people won't see the video. They're just gonna do it, jump into it, and they won't know how to properly do it. But I'm here to tell you, like other people tell you, dermatologists, and I'm not a dermatologist, I've just done my research. I'm here to tell you like the steps you need to follow, everything about microneedling at home. Basically you can do it. So let's get into it. So what is microneedling and how does it work? So basically microneedling is puncturing your skin with microneedles. The goal is basically two things: to create a stimulation of collagen to repair the skin that you just impaired purposely, and second, it's creating channels in your skin so that skincare products can actually go through the stratum corneum skin barrier. Basically you make your skincare products a lot more potent. If you think they're not working right now, with microneedling they might work better. This procedure is typically performed out of dermatologists or estheticians. This is something done by professionals. Microneedling in a professional environment is basically supposed to make you bleed. That's why a lot of people are scared of it, because they see a face full of blood. With an at-home device, you're not gonna bleed, especially if your needles are below 0.5 millimeters, but you'll be very red, and don't worry, it's normal. But that's gonna go down immediately, like the next morning, because you should do that at night. Next morning you're gonna wake up, your skin's gonna be totally fine. So that's what's cool about microneedling at home versus microneedling in the office. That's there's no downtime, so you don't have to be going through it with your skin for like a week or two for your skin to be back to normal. And microneedling, even in a professional office, takes just about a week of downtime. So it's one of the shortest downtimes of all the skincare procedures that you can go through. In the professional environment, the needles can grow from 0.5 millimeters to 8 millimeters, which is super long, and I don't think that's very common. But at-home devices do not go above 1 millimeter. Even 1 millimeter is not common, especially for your face. They usually go from 0.2 to 0.5 millimeters. You definitely shouldn't try 1 millimeter on your face because it's too risky, and you actually need to numb your skin because it's gonna be painful. Professionals actually give you a numbing cream so that they can go above 1 millimeter. But there is a downfall to microneedling at home, is that studies show that there is actually real visible results starting from 1.5 to 2 millimeters. So is microneedling at home really worth it? And these results are especially talking about scars, some things like acne scars, stretch marks, especially because they're really deep. It's all because the stimulation of collagen production has only been proven to happen above that depth, because that's basically when you bleed, you know. So if you don't bleed, there's not going to be a lot of collagen stimulation or at all. Basically, the purpose of microneedling at home is solely to improve the penetration of your skincare products and multiply their potency, achieve better results with your existing skincare products. It's definitely good results still. You can definitely get a lot out of microneedling at home. I'm not saying that's useless. It's just not comparable to a procedure done by a professional. Basically, 0.2 millimeters will just help your fine lines. It is very superficial, and if you happen to have a device with 1 millimeter depth of needles, don't use it on your face, just use it on your body. It is good for stretch marks, for example, on your belly or your buttocks. It is going to be less painful than doing it on your face, and less risky also, because I'm going to talk about how to do it properly. But if you don't really do it properly on the body, it won't show as much as if you had done it on your face. And also, if you have a microneedling tool of 1 millimeter, it's never more than once a month. So what is microneedling good for? I kind of spilled already the beans on that, but let me clarify, because there's a lot more it is good for. So basically it's good for acne scarring, other forms of scarring like stretch marks, as I mentioned, hyperpigmentation like melasma, fine lines and wrinkles, sagging skin, pore size. Basically it minimizes the appearance of your pores. But again, it's very superficial skin issues when you have an at-home device. Don't expect crazy results. So microneedling is a good option when you feel your skincare is not working. As I said, for example, your scars, you feel like they're too stubborn, too resistant of your skincare products. So basically, as I said, microneedling is going to create channels in your skin, little holes, so that your skincare can reach the layers of your skin that it couldn't reach because of the good old skin barrier. Remember though that you can't be just thinking, oh, my skincare product's not working, when it's not been long enough. An active ingredient takes a lot of time to work. Sometimes it can be 3 weeks and you can already see results. Sometimes it takes up to 3 months or more. It's basically considered as the last resort for your skin to get rid of your scars, along with, you know, other treatment like lasers. Of course, you can't get lasers in your house, so microneedling at home is an option for like an in-between, you know, an in-between between your, is that even English? Between your skincare routine and a professional treatment that's gonna cost a lot. I'm going to demonstrate to you how to do it properly, but first I want to tell you about the product that I'm going to introduce, because I think that's the best option for microneedling at home. Microneedling is also called derma rollers with needles. That's basically how people envision microneedling. I am here to bring you a new version of microneedling. It really does feel like a TV ad or something, but no, I actually mean it. This is not a roller. That's what makes all the difference. There's also other differences that I'm gonna mention. I already made a video on this thing a year ago, I think. Banish sent me another one because of course I needed a new one for sanitary reasons, and I thank them for sponsoring the video. And this basically, I don't know if you can see, if it's gonna be able to focus. If you're gonna do microneedling at home, I think you should use something like that rather than a roller. And I haven't seen any other that's in a stem form, so that's why I recommend Banish. Let me tell you why. Rollers are inferior to stamps, and I'm gonna show you actually a portion of a video, if I can insert it, from the channel Dr. Lee with Dr. Shah and Dr. Maxfield. Not a fan of these at-home derma rollers, and I'm gonna use this to show you why.
This is a close-up look at an at-home derma roller device. These little needles actually get dragged across the skin, creating tiny little cuts and scrapes into the skin. This, on the other hand, is a stamping microneedling device. You can see how the needles go in and out of the skin. I'm using this banana to show how the different needling devices can impact the skin. On the right, I'm using the stamping device, and on the left, I'm using the derma roller in the proper way that it's supposed to be used. You can see the control punctures on the right versus on the left, how the needles drag across the skin. This just shows how most people use derma rollers in a pretty haphazard fashion. You can see how the skin can get really traumatized by dragging of the derma roller, versus the stamping device is much more controlled. Derma roller use can lead to scars, hyperpigmentation, and infection in unsterile environments.
Derma rollers really puncture your skin at every angle, and what they do in the offices, that's basically a stamp. Of course, not this tool, but that's in a stamp way. You know, they go down and they go up, go down, go up. The difference is the needles are much longer. The device they use is battery powered. The thing is, if you do that, it is at 90-degree angle. It's much safer, it's much more controlled, as they said, so it's better. Basically, it's definitely superior to derma rollers. The good thing also about this is that it's not cheap. I know it sounds weird because of course we want the best price, right? But for something like that, you don't want something that's gonna cost $5, sorry. You want something that is good quality, okay? And this is good quality because it's made of gold-plated titanium. It has to be either titanium or stainless steel, and gold has antibacterial properties. There is pros and cons to both materials, but titanium is good because that's stronger than stainless steel, so titanium is not gonna bend. It lasts longer. The thing is, it is less easy to clean than stainless steel. Clean meaning sterilize. So I'm gonna tell you how to really properly sterilize your Banisher 2.0 so that you can keep it, because Banish recommends actually that you can keep it up to 8 uses, and you have to be really strict on that. Also, why I recommend this over others is that the needles are less than 0.5 millimeters, so it's safer because you're not exposing your skin to deep holes and potential, you know, infection or scarring. Of course, it's gonna have have different results than in a professional environment, but at least you'll be able to break the outer layer of your skin. So the good thing also is that it's recommended to use just up to 8 times to prevent infection and to prevent needles to bend. The thing with the stamp is that it's good because you have to move it up at a 90-degree angle and down, you know. Compared to derma rollers, when you actually are tempted to go any angle, you know, even if you are in a 90-degree angle with a derma roller, you're still gonna have the needles coming in that angle, you know. So the good thing is that with this, you have to be cautious, really be gentle. You're not gonna drag this because that would be just tearing your skin apart. Dr. Anna Chacon actually recommends it.
I know banishers from a reputable source because it comes from the same manufacturer that makes the professional microneedling devices that we actually use in our dermatology office.
And so it's safer, I think, than a derma roller you're gonna buy on Amazon or AliExpress for $5. Now on to what you've been waiting for. It's the procedure on how to do this properly and safely at home. Because first of all, in the before treatment, start on a fresh cleansed skin, of course with clean hands. Then next, strictly respect that the banisher is only up to 8 times use. So count that, write that down in your notes. I don't know if you're gonna forget how many times you've used that, just write that down somewhere. What days also, so you know when to do it next. When you know that in professional environments, they have interchangeable heads that they throw away at each use. Actually, that kind of makes sense because you can't share a microneedling device with anyone. We're not here to throw away our €83/$87 banisher at every use, you know, because that would be a lot of waste and that would be expensive. But this is titanium. As I said, this lasts longer than stainless steel. If you sterilize it properly, you can actually use it up to 8 times. It's not as expensive, of course, as a professional microneedling procedure, which can range from $200 to $700, okay, for one session. But again, you won't see the same results. You know, you're not gonna have the collagen stimulation. That's always something to keep in mind. If you ever notice that they get bent before the 8 times, throw this away. But it shouldn't be bent because it's titanium, so it's a lot stronger. And sterilize it very thoroughly with 70% to 90% isopropyl alcohol. Basically, that's the procedure they give you on the website and also on the kit, because the banisher comes in that kit. So I actually have 2. You know, this is the new one and this was the old one. So this is basically the kit it comes into. So there's a little pouch, that's cute. There's instructions in case you didn't see them on the website, of course. There are instructions on how to disinfect it. Everything here. There's this cap right here. It's not just to protect the needles. There is an instruction filling here with a limit. You have to fill it all the way to the line here so that when you twist the cap back, the needles touch the alcohol. Let it sit on a flat surface for 5 minutes so that it disinfects correctly. You come back, of course, you wash your hands, you untwist this and you let it dry. So what I like to do is lay it flat on a surface like this so that it dries, but the needles do not touch anything, because if the needles touch something after you sterilize them, they're not sterilized anymore. So be really careful. You can also go under the water real quick after you've untwisted it and dry it with something and let it sit for 2 minutes to really dry before putting on your face, because the remaining alcohol on the bristles can actually sting your face a little bit. So let's go into the during process. As I said, press it down gently on your skin at a 90-degree angle, more slightly on certain areas than others. So for example, the bridge of the nose and your forehead, because there are places where your skin is not that deep. Here, for example, on the cheeks, you kind of have to be a little stronger. If a professional was doing it for you, they would adjust the length of the needles, you know, so they would go for a shorter length on the surfaces where the bones basically are close to the surface of your skin, and they would adjust them to be longer on the surfaces like cheeks, for example. You don't have that, so you just need to be pressing very gently on those surfaces and press it a little more hard. Don't be too hard, okay? So press it down, hold it there for 10 seconds, then lift it up, then rotate 45 degrees, then press it down, then rotate 45 degrees, then press it down. And you do that basically 4 times so that you made the whole turn on the same spot. Never turn I surprised myself. Never turn when the needles are in your skin, of course. And don't go under your eyes. Basically avoid that whole area here. The skin is too thin there. Don't go over active acne. You'd be spreading bacteria. So I wanted to show you the old tool here. I immediately stopped using it in the middle of a microneedling process because actually that was the last time I could use it, and also because I had active acne here and I was not careful. I just wanted to reach the scars really next to it, but I ended up piercing the pimple. I don't know if you can see, but there is some blood. There is something that's left from the pimple. I immediately saw that. I saw the pimple really started bleeding, very like just the size of these needles. It started having that little dot of blood, and I was like, whoop.
I said, oh, jump scare.
I was like, you're out, bin. Of course, I could have stopped it, sterilized it really thoroughly, and use it for next time. But this was already done anyway. That was the last time I could use it. And also, don't go over certain skin issues other than active acne, which are rashes, eczema, herpes, cold sores, rosacea, basically any inflammatory condition that could be worse because you would break your skin barrier. So if you have any of that all over your face, don't microneedle. If you have it just on a part of your face, avoid it. For example, that's what I do when I have active pimples. I can still microneedle, okay? I want to microneedle. I'm just gonna avoid the active pimple. Last time I didn't do it properly. So that's why you need to be very careful. All right, so now the after procedure tips. This is the old one. I need to put it away. Clean it immediately after you're done with it. So do not let it sit. Twist, put isopropyl alcohol all the way to the line here and then twist it. Wait for 5 minutes or more. Remove, let it dry, and then you can store it in the container and it's good for your next use. Next tip is do not follow up with a product that contains essential oils, fragrance, or alcohol, like denatured alcohol. I'm not talking about the fatty alcohols like stearyl alcohol, cetyl alcohol, lauryl alcohol, oleic alcohol. Those alcohols basically hydrate your skin. It's just denatured alcohol that could potentially make your skin more inflamed or just be very painful. And don't go and put your face in a dirty environment. So for example, if you haven't changed your bed sheets in, I don't know, 10 days, when you're done with your microneedling session, don't go and get your head in the sheets or on a sofa. Just be very careful of what touches your face for the next day. Next tip, use ingredients that are safe to reach your skin lower than it could normally do. Use ingredients, for example, like niacinamide, vitamin C, panthenol, so that's also called vitamin B5, aloe vera, retinol, peptides. The thing you want to avoid also is no acid product, because your skin is already irritated. You could make your irritation a lot worse, and it could lead to severe hyperpigmentation, especially for darker skin tones. So don't use anything acid. Make sure that you use a product that you already tolerate on its own before using it after a microneedling session. Make sure, for example, that you already tolerate your retinol. Next tip, of course you have to do this at night, so it's better not to wear makeup the next morning because you wouldn't want it to get deep in your skin and clog your pores. And finally, next tip is wear sunscreen the next day, the next morning. That's a pretty common tip, right? Because it's something you have to do every day. Like, it's not just because you microneedle, but just in case, I'm reminding you, especially if you're darker skin toned. And I'm gonna end with other tips, but they are general. We're done with the procedure, all right? I just have more tips that are general. Do not share it with anyone else, all right? I made this mistake and I thank God I didn't get an infection, or my fiance, because I remember we even did that on the weekend he proposed. So I really remember, because I brought my whole skincare collection and I wanted to give him a facial, you know, as a spa treatment. He loved it. He even fell asleep. So that's telling of how not painful it is. Spanish website even mentions that some people compared it to a Velcro that would be pressed down in your face. That's kind of how it feels to me. So that's not something you should do. Second general tip. Spanish recommends to use this up to once a week to see real visible results. I finally, I'm gonna add a nuance to this, is that to be safer, I would recommend to use your tool every 2 to 4 weeks at first. Just see for like the 3 to 4 first times how your skin responds the next morning. And then if your skin really reacts well, if you don't see anything, any irritation, you can go up to once a week. They're not incorrect because they said up to once a week, so that's a margin for safety. I'm just saying, don't see that and take it as, okay, I'm gonna do it once a week. Third general tip, if your skin is very sensitive, be extra cautious in what you follow up with. If you're very sensitive, do not add an active. Its potency is gonna be multiplied. Just follow up with a plain moisturizer, or just add Vaseline to your face and create that shield, that protection to soothe the skin and be super gentle with it. Fourth tip, use it only at night. I already mentioned that. That's a general tip about this, or microneedling in general, but I'm just talking about this tool because, as I said, it is far superior to other tools on the market to me. Fifth tip, it is technically pregnancy safe, but for example, I made some mistakes, you know. I did it to my fiance. I could have ended up with an infection. Didn't be that precise when I did it next to my active pimple, so I could also have gotten an infection. So there is this slight risk of infection, so I don't want you to do this. I mean, I wouldn't do it. If I were pregnant, skip that for 9 months. That's not gonna be super complicated. Finally, never leave water undried on this tool because it could become rust, and you don't want to put rust deep in your skin. It's not one of the ingredients we want to penetrate our skin. I think I'm being pretty general and really complete with this video. I hope it really helps you. I hope you're not scared of microneedling anymore. I hope you know how it works now. I hope you, when you actually receive the banisher at your house, if you decide to order it, I hope you're gonna rewatch this video before to just remember what I said and all the procedures. I'll leave the link below to the banisher if you ever want to try microneedling at home. Bye! See you now. I gotta eat. I'm starving. Bye. Have a blessed week. Bisous.